All right. I'm of European descent. I consider myself open minded and love to have my perception challenged, thus, improving my limited understanding, becoming more empathetic, and a step closer to all earthlings. I can relate to being an environmentalist as much as one can as an American. I would probably be more off grid if I felt it could be done, given my personal caregiving needs. I am a power wheelchair using C5 quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down, so I can voluntarily use my bicep muscles and slight wrist tenodesis, but lack voluntary control of tricep muscles, hands, fingers, and anything below my waist. Before COVID, I was an athlete playing wheelchair rugby, like in these photos. I can be funny, kind, and a decent human. I try to be respectful, understanding, and fair. I try to do what I believe to be the right thing and avoid using deception or dishonesty. So on June 17th, 2019, I resigned from my whole career as an alcohol and drug counselor and became a full time animal rights vegan activist. I was then on the journey as an empath, spending time discovering how I can effectively communicate with people to help them become aware of the power and responsibility of their choices, help people make choices that are coinciding with their professed morals, beliefs, thoughts, and values. I feel the first form of my activism of doing PowerPoint presentations about the consequences of our food choices in the science classes of high schools here in Lincoln, Nebraska was hugely positively influential because I'm speaking to an audience that is seeking and forming a personal identity involving appearance, personality, what they count as acceptable friends, and character development. Part of character development involves learning information while also processing it to see if it is valid and something they want to defend as a truth, even if it goes against beliefs of prior older generations. I deeply encouraged high school students to actively take the responsibility for looking at the things they currently do and be willing to question their validity moving toward the life and world that they wanted to create and live in. Unfortunately, this form of activism was cut short quickly because I was unfairly banned from presenting critical thinking information in all of Lincoln public schools. Systems of power do not want to be transparent and they don't want to be exposed for lies, dangers that they impose on all of us. Prior to COVID 19, the presentations that I was giving included the increased likelihood of a pandemic coming from an animal origin. I was left trying to figure out other ways to continue my activism, so I started with opening up a Facebook account under my name, but with the sole purpose of expanding my activism possibilities for looking for other vegans who are sharing knowledge to the public by doing activism events. Of course, I did friend request many people I knew on a professional level, personal friends, and family members who did not know much or anything about being vegan. This way, we could see each other's posts, learn about things we care about and value. I look for opportunities to have mutual, dignified conversation without trying to sound like I'm instigating a debate which has a winner and a loser. So I ran across this ad by the Humane League. It was a Facebook ad, and they're looking for a volunteer changemaker captain who could find and work with leaders in their community to organize volunteers. Their mission is to end the abuse of animals raised for food. I thought this was perfect for me because I have decent communication skills learned from directing my own independent cares as a wheelchair user and being an alcohol drug counselor. So in September of 2019, I became the first and only changemaker captain in Nebraska. Facebook is a platform I use to create most of my activism events, gather volunteers for these events, and provide vegan awareness to friends, family, and followers. As a changemaker captain, I had available to me a wealth of information from the Humane League to be a better activist and create these Facebook events. It was like receiving a free college education of activism that is well researched to be the most effective. All forms of activism require building relationships to build a community and engage in collaborations. All right, so these are types of animal rights, vegan activism, things that I have done and or currently participate in. As these are coming into view, take note of the ones that you want to learn the details about so you can ask me at the end of this presentation to elaborate on specific things that may have caught your attention. I'll keep this page up here for a couple more seconds, and then we're going to go to another page that even has more things. So write some things down maybe. And then we got this page here. So basically, this is a continuation of the previous slide, also identifying a club that I belong to, along with organizations that I collaborate with. Anti-Animal Abuse Social Club Omaha is a Nebraska club with a mission to make Omaha a kinder place for animals, humans, and the earth. PETA is dedicated to establishing and protecting the rights of animals. Veg Fund's mission is to empower vegan activists worldwide by funding and supporting effective outreach activities that inspire individuals and communities to consider the adoption of plant-based diets and a vegan lifestyle. The Humane League's mission is to end the abuse of animals raised for food. As a once counselor, I feel it is effectively important to attempt to meet people where they are at in life with a genuine interest, even if it doesn't involve talking about veganism at that moment. For example, like being an ally when someone is oppressed or having a decent, dignified conversation with someone with the goal both people leave the conversation feeling it was good. All right, so I'm going to share a little bit about these particular number bulleted activism events that I've done that I feel have been very successful and maybe kind of inspiring. So we'll see. So, my first and most accommodating method of sign holding for me involved solid mounting a large magnetic whiteboard sign on my silver power wheelchair. And what was cool when I did this is a lot of my caregivers are female, and it just so happens many of them really aren't used to using tools. So it was kind of cool to teach my caregivers how to use tools, and we were able to put this sign together. So I thought that was kind of fun to do. My hands don't voluntarily work, so instead of easily dismissing myself from side holding activism events, I simply chose to adapt to something that will work for me. And this does work on my past wheelchair that I've had. Since then, I've upgraded. But here's a video I'm going to share with you at an event that I called a vegan vandalizing van event. I'll say it again, a vegan vandalizing van event. So check out this video.
It is Saturday, May 7th, 2022. I, Robert Rieck Jr., along with other members of the Anti-Animal Abuse Social Club Omaha, are in downtown Lincoln Haymarket Farmers Market for its first opening day, doing a public demonstration called a Vegan Vandalizing Van Event. On the southwest public corner of 8th and P Street, we are setting up the driver and passenger chair from my van, which are made from animal leather. We strongly believe that raising animals for food, leather, and fur is animal abuse, and highly encourage vegan options such as pineapple and cactus leather. We have samples of plant leather to show onlookers. We will be using Sharpie medium point oil-based pens to write thought-provoking statements on these animal leather seats in an effort to help onlookers make a connection. It no longer serves a civilized society to be filtering our nutrients through animals by eating them and using their skins and furs to turn into inanimate objects. It is barbaric and unsustainable. Worldwide, 1.4 billion animals are killed every year just for their skins to be turned into leather. Companies do not have to state where raw leather comes from. So if the label simply says leather, it can be the skins of dogs, cats, cows, water buffaloes, sheep, goats, kangaroos, and pigs. Just in the United States, which is merely 5% of the human population, 10 billion animals are killed annually for food, while wildlife is only 4% is being destroyed protecting these animals raised for food. It is now time to be part of reducing the suffering in the world by going vegan.
All right, so while I am getting exercise pushing in my manual rugby chair on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings, I have a white magnetic sign about the size of a standard sheet of paper clipped on the back with weekly new messages. My old school skateboarding helmet I tagged with stickers announcing I'm an ally and against all forms of oppression. Another form of individual animal rights vegan activism I did was I vinyl wrapped my new black power wheelchair. So wherever I go, people are going to be confronted with the vegan message to include animal liberation and the ending of speciesism. I also have an underlight kit on this wheelchair, which highlights my vinyl messages, and it looks really poppin' when it's at night. I have done protests against these corporations. Since corporations targeted are so huge, incremental change may not sound like a lot of progress, but any change to disrupt factory farming is a meaningful win for the animals and public safety. Here is a video, one of three protests I organized at Hardee's.
In 2016, Carl's Jr. and Hardee's publicly promised to go 100% cage free by 2025. Both companies are owned by CKE Restaurants, and neither has publicly reported any progress towards this commitment as late of July 2024. When a company does these things, they deceive consumers because the average customer thinks the company is following through with their animal welfare commitment. Many customers then feel better about patronizing. All the while, one of the worst forms of animal abuse is still taking place: intense crowding in cages. However, there is a great number of people, consisting of animal rights activists, concerned consumers, and or public citizens who don't want to be duped by corporations any longer, that are working together in solidarity to pressure meaningful action and transparency from these corporations. As a noticeable result of such pressure, Carl's Jr. finally publicly reported that they are 100% cage free with their layer hens in their egg supply chain throughout all of their domestic USA locations.
Carl Jr. is 100% cage free. Do the same, Hardee's.
This is a message to Hardee's. Share your progress ASAP, because your time is running out and we are not going to go anywhere until then.
During the same month of September 2024, of doing that last protest you just watched, Hardee's Restaurant finally publicly reported their cage-free process for all the locations in the USA. They were at 40% cage-free, but they were still in line with their 100% cage-free projection by the end of 2025. These actions improved the lives of approximately 1.3 million chickens. To highlight again, I believe most activists know that cage-free does not end the abuse of animals raised for food, but it removes the use of one of the worst forms of animal abuse, which is battery cages. Speciesism is an oppressive force, just like all these other forms of oppression, that I stand firmly against and get involved in as an ally. It is another way of meeting people where they are at with experiencing forms of oppression very real in their life. I feel there is a great importance for each of us as individuals to vividly announce to the public by some means of where you stand as an ally against different oppressive forces. So I decided to use my white privilege to be an active ally in solidarity with Black Lives Matters. I did this by getting my van vinyl wrapped. So wherever I go, it is clear I am an ally of the BLM movement seeking justice, equality, and freedom. As a result of being a genuine ally, sometimes it creates the perfect atmosphere when someone becomes curiously interested in my veganism. So the previous two slides you have seen so far were made possible by a vegan activist friend. About a year ago, I invested in accommodating technology with the purchase of Ray-Ban Meta glasses capable of recording video and taking pictures powered by my voice dictation. Made it very possible for me to open up a YouTube channel as another extension of my activism. So this next video is one I made using my glasses. The video is about the Humane League campaign. It's a current Humane League campaign against Subway restaurants. I started writing vegan-themed letters to the editor in September of 2019. I recently had my 73rd letter published and have been published in 10 daily newspapers across Nebraska, which is known as the beef state because of animal agriculture. Writing letters to the editor is a way of positively influencing public opinion and, within my letters, plea for animal rights consideration. I do also host monthly classes where you can learn how to write letters to the editor and share your experience with others. The very last thing I want to share with you about being a vegan activist with a disability involves sharing our story as a means to relate to others. I wrote an autobiography to do just that. I feel many people mistakenly think vegans are extreme, and because of this, they fail to see any similarities that can help maintain human connectivity. I would like to believe everyone who reads my book will be able to relate with me somewhere within it, thus bringing us together with more understanding. When this happens, this could create better consideration of veganism. The technology I used to write my book heavily involved voice dictation software, thus contributing to the name of my book, Spoken. Here is a short video I made of myself at Barnes& Noble with the introduction that I use when I speak to potential customers.
have a couple minutes of your time to introduce myself and my book? No purchase pressure whatsoever. My name is Robert A Rieck Jr. I am a C5 quadriplegic. I wrote this autobiography, spoken, and memoir sprinkled with a little quadriplegia, and it was published May 14th, 2024. All of the author's profits go directly to 21 January, a farm-rescued animal sanctuary in Clinton, Missouri. Today, I can use my mouth to sign a copy of my book to whoever you wish. At the very least, I ask that you take my card, are welcome to grab a snack, and please scan the QR code of the young artist named Reese who drew my author portrait. His older sister used to be my caregiver, and he has done a couple of projects for me. I think most artists make art that is comfortable to their ability, but you can get a hold of Reese for custom pieces. When I gave him my art assignment, he gave me a price quote and told me he would have it done in 2 weeks.
So this is the end of my presentation. And from here, I'd love for people to reach out to me now, today, or later through an email who want to maybe collaborate with me, perhaps interview me on their platform, ask me any questions, and even give me some constructive criticism about my presentation. Please check out the information in the description of this video. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, leave a comment, consider subscribing and sharing with at least 2 other people. Vegan peace and love.